Hello, Tormod here from Norway, and we're talking about mental health. So, I think that we need to understand is that all of humanity is mentally ill. How can we go about every day, just go about our lives and do what we do with accepting the numbers of rape, child abuse, starvation, murder, war? How can we just, I'm fine with it. How can we just be fine with it when we see what is going on in our world? That is one sign of mental illness collectively for humanity. And even though most of us are very good at just hiding this, just suppressing it and denying it, we just hide these things because we don't want to face it, because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. So, what I've been doing the last 10 years is to walk a self-forgiveness process. I have a diagnosis. I choose to work with my diagnosis. I choose to work with the word schizophrenia. And I choose to work with finding out what lies within this diagnosis that could ever guide me or help me in my process, in my life process overall. I choose to pick up the diagnosis of schizophrenia for myself to find out how can I work with that, how can I evolve that, how can I shape that. And for the last 10 years I've been working on mind constructs, working with Destiny.org and Destiny iProcess Pro with writing out my mind, basically. All the dirty ghosts and all the stuff from my closet, from my past, from my trauma, drama, memories, everything. Everything. Also the things that you don't tell to anybody. Also the stuff that is secured way back in your mind that you don't talk to anybody about. We have to bring it all out in self-forgiveness. I am living proof that self-forgiveness is a highly, highly effective tool to apply on self-therapy. Okay? It's all about self-trust, self-awareness, self-responsibility, and self-honesty. When I forgive myself, I release myself from the energy addiction in my mind. When I release myself from the energy of addiction of the polarities of my mind, I liberate my physicality from being enslaved by my mind. I liberate the body from being a slave to the metaphysics. So I'm proof that self-forgiveness is a very, very, very fine tool to heal self. Now, mental illness and mental health have gone very far beyond. I mean, there's there's very many good things about it, but there's equal amounts of bad things about it. One of the things that I will highlight here is the point that it's like these celebrity psychologists and psychiatrists and TV personalities that is like expert in psychology and psychiatry. They just tell us to just show emotions, just show your anxiety, just feel the depression, feel the anger, feel the anxiety. They tell us to, and they teach us to normalize anxiety, fear, anger, worry, doubt, all these things. But if we look at it from a holistical perspective and see what is this anxiety doing to my physical body. I, for instance, look at anxiety as barbed wire. Competition, competing comparison, and anxiety and stress mostly look the same to me in the shape of barbed wire. When the doctors tell me to just show your emotion, just express your emotion, when they say that, it's like when I try to do that, it's like I pull barbed wire through my fucking body. That is not a pretty picture. So they totally ignore the fact that emotions can have a critical impact on the physical body. The body, my liver, my heart, my intestine, my blood, my veins, my skin is delicate tissue. Okay? And we all need delicate and decent treatment for our bodies. We don't need anger and anxiety and fear and stress at all, because it's damaging our body. It's making our life shorter. It's draining us. The thinking, the anxiety, the worry is draining us from our life juice. It is killing us, basically. So I've had it with psychologists and psychiatrists that just say that, oh, just show your emotion, express your emotion, because it is basically the same as self-harm. And that is not okay either. Now, I used to be committed to hospital a lot. From 2003 to 2013, I would be very often indoor of mental hospital. I was multiple addict and very much suffering in schizophrenia. I was sleeping on the streets of Amsterdam. And then I picked up this idea that I could talk to myself, that I could talk sense to myself, that I could start communicate with myself and start sharing some sense with me, that I could do it, that it didn't need a psychologist or a doctor or anybody else to do that. I could do it for myself. That's responsibility. That's self-responsibility. When I was able to sit down or lay down or walk or whatever and talk to myself and reason with myself, I could start sorting out my mind, my thinking. I started sorting out my personalities. I started sorting out who I am as a being. I started liberating my physical from the enslavement of my mind. So self-forgiveness is a very fine tool to use to heal self. We can get support and backup and assistance, but there must be something that originally comes from within self if we want to heal. If we want to heal, there must come something from within self that really wants to do that healing. We can have assistance and support and everything, but the real deal comes from within self, and from within self, that is where self-forgiveness is an extraordinary tool to use. And if you really want to heal self and work with self, I can warmly recommend self-forgiveness. It's a very fine, it's just words, and it still is so very, very potent and strong to use to work on self, to heal self. Self-communication, self-writing, self-honesty. This is my message. I used to be a suffering schizophrenic. Today I have a life that I can only dream about in my wildest imagination. I have a life that is worth of living. And I owe it all to self-forgiveness. To many people along the way, but most of all to myself, because I was able to forgive myself. To release myself from the mind addictions, the imagination, the thinking, the feelings, the emotions, the beliefs, the worry, the fear, the desires, all that I was able to liberate from over time and find myself rooted, grounded, anchored, stable in my body, the divinity, the godhood. The home, my home here. Here's my home on this earth. So, this is the news that I'm sharing with the world because self-forgiveness has the potential to heal many more people. It's all about who self is and your ability to be honest and responsible with self. Chemical therapy only goes so far. We have to have more and alternative forms of therapy. Self-forgiveness is a very proof and very reliant tool to use if you use it in the structure that I've been using it, for instance, with Destiny I Process, Destiny I Process Light, working on Destiny Forum, writing, speaking, sounding, self-forgiveness to me, developing self-honesty, developing self-intimacy, developing integrity, humbleness, real care, stability. Don't expect others to fix you. You can do that. You can have support and backup and assistance. Yes, that's jolly good. But there must be something coming from within you that wants to heal, that wants to work on healing. And there is and at that point is exactly where self-forgiveness is so brilliant. Feel free to ask me if you have questions. I can show you a way through self-forgiveness to how to use self-forgiveness. Message me, whatever. Okay, thank you very much and enjoy breath.